Question for you. Can you name 3 movies that have had a substantial impact on your mindset, on the way you've seen yourself or your personal or professional performance? Today I'm going to give you 3 of mine. This is the Pep Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, life coach in DFW, and in this season 1 finale of the Pep Talk Podcast, I'm giving you 3 movies that have vastly impacted my mindset and how they can impact yours as well. Now, if you haven't had your dose of pep today, don't worry. I got you. Let's go. Hello. What is up, good people? Welcome to the season 1 finale of the Pep Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay. You know it's your boy. And you know the mission of the podcast is to cheer you on and to coach you up. We've come every week for 28 straight weeks, y'all. And we have been bringing you pep talks that have been designed to grow your mindset, to enhance your motivation, to cheer you up, to encourage you, but also to challenge you to elevate, to keep growing, to not stay stuck at any particular level. And if you find yourself plateauing, we've offered you different tips on everything from imposter syndrome to comparing yourself to others. All of these things have been designed to coach you up toward your next level. And this last episode of season 1 is no different. So listen, after this episode, we're going to be taking a break. All right, now I already have some plans in place for season 2, and it's going to be great. And you're going to be hearing from some different people than me who are going to be giving y'all some pep talks, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. But I just want to take some time right now and to just thank you for rocking with us for these 28 weeks. And when we come back, y'all, I promise we're going to have some fire value for you. You're going to hear from some amazing voices, from some amazing people, and it's gonna be great. It's just really gonna be great, and I'm excited to begin rolling this out to you. So listen, stay tapped in, because you never know, I may drop some episodes here and there, just some little bite-sized nuggets for you to consume, because I love you, and I don't want you going without your pep for too long. Now, y'all, I love movies. There is something about going to the movie theater, sitting down with a box of popcorn, and just enjoying the experience of the movie. Can anybody relate to that? I mean, anybody out there just a cinemaphile? You like going out to the movies and getting the full experience of it? Man, I can still remember, even before I was married, like I would go to the movies by myself and just watch the movies because I love them so much. And I've also realized just how much of an impact movies have had on my life, on my creativity, on my imagination, on my productivity. And so I thought that for this last episode, for this season, it would be really cool to reflect on 3 movies that have had an indelible impact on the way that I view life, on the way that I view myself, on my mindset, on my motivation, on even what I think is possible through my human hands. And so we're going to talk about 3 of those movies that have just been game changers for me, movies that I refer back to really almost every day when I feel stuck, when I feel myself falling out of a winning mindset, when I feel myself thinking of myself in terms of who I'm not rather than who I am. I come back to these 3 movies, and one of them is actually a fairly new movie, but it has vaulted itself into the pantheon of what my Mount Rushmore of impactful movies are. So as I'm giving mine, I want you to think about what yours are, and I want you to chime in on what your impactful movies are, because I think this will be a fun discussion for us to have. So no matter where you're listening, no matter how you're listening, I want to hear back from you on your impactful movies so that we can learn from each other. And if it's a movie that I haven't seen, of course I want to know what it is so that I can go back and watch it and see what I get away from it. All right. Number 1, is Limitless. 2011, the Bradley Cooper masterpiece. And some of y'all may hear this and you may cringe. I think it had like an IMDb score of 7.4 out of 10. So it wasn't a horrible movie. Okay. Now, I would personally give it a 9.9999 because when people ask me what my favorite movie of all time is, it is Limitless. Like, I love the Star Wars, and I love the Matrix, and I love the Lord of the Rings trilogies. That one and the Hobbit. Y'all, I love them. But when it comes back to really forming who Coach J is, I think Limitless was one of the first movies that really cast a reflection on who I thought I was versus who I desperately wanted to be. So here's a quick synopsis of this movie, right? So you have this down on his luck, struggling artist writer. I think his name was Edward Mora, again played by Bradley Cooper, and he can't get anything right. He's living in filth and garbage. Like, he can't get stuff right with this girl. He has a book that he's supposed to be writing, and he sits down and he can't write anything. It's just horrible. Even the cinematography in that part of the movie, it's dull and it's drab. And it's just a beautiful, a beautiful metaphor for what's happening in Edward Mora's life. Now, he gets his hands on this new drug. It's purely experimental, and he gets it, through shady means. Yeah, he gets it through shady means. But it's supposed to unlock the full measure of what one is able to accomplish with full use of the human brain. Now, we know that most of us heavily lean on one side of our brain, either right side or left side. But in this movie, this struggling writer, this struggling artist, he gets his hands on a drug. They call it a nootropic drug that opens up the fullest measure of his potential. And y'all, when he first takes the drug, the boldness of color in the cinematography shows you, it illustrates for you just how his mind has opened up. And so all of a sudden we see this dude who is basically a bum, right? He writes a book. He just sits down and bangs it out. He begins to understand, stocks, and he begins to play the stock market. He makes millions. He becomes this charismatic, well-dressed, take on the world, take charge guy, which is who he wasn't before. But he becomes this guy, y'all, in a matter of days. He becomes a voracious reader and is able to retain everything that he reads. But not only that, he's able to take what he learns and put it into practice. Now, over the course of the movie, he has to do some shady things to keep the drug. He loses it at some point and has to, drink the blood of somebody who has taken the drug. It's crazy. It's crazy. But no lie, when I come back to asking myself, who do you want to be? What is the limit for your life? My answer to myself is always, I'm limitless. I'm limitless. Because I've always asked myself the question, what would my life be like if I could have access to unlocking all of my potential? What would my life be like if every piece of untapped reserves in me I was able to make tangible? And watching this movie, y'all, had such a profound impact on my mindset because the way that I looked at myself changed. I began to adopt the mindset that I don't need a drug, right? I don't want to take the drug. However, there are ways that I can unlock myself. There are ways that I can unlock my potential and begin to live the kind of life that I wanted to live. Now, it didn't happen immediately. Y'all, I've watched this movie about 5 or 6 or 7 times, And now that I'm in my 40s is where I really began to put things together and understand that it's one thing to want to be limitless. It's one thing to look at myself as limitless, but it's another thing completely to begin putting things in place so that I could truly function as a limitless person. And I truly believe now, as a 42-year-old, about to be 43 on this upcoming Wednesday, July 12th, I really believe, y'all, that my potential is limitless, that my impact is limitless, that what I can do here on this earth, the number of lives that I can touch and impact is truly limitless. And that has become my mindset. And I believe that has become the single biggest game changer in my life. As I look forward over the next 10, 15, 20 years, I'm excited for what's going to come because I really believe that I have not even seen my best days yet. And adopting that as my mindset and looking back at this movie and just seeing how he was able to move, how he was able to change from somebody that he hated into someone that had something that blessed other people. Yo. And I hope you're getting this. Because here's why you should watch this movie. You are limitless too. And you may not believe it. You may look at your life and see every self-imposed limit that you've placed upon yourself. Every limiting belief that has kept you bound. Every obstacle that you've allowed to define you, that you've allowed to shackle you. Yo, you're limitless. And when you begin to understand just how vast your potential is, your outlook for your present and your future begins to shift radically. Because truly, you are the person who is holding you back. And when you take the limits off, when you refuse to wear the limiters any longer, when you cast the weight off of yourself, your life opens up in such an amazing way that the colors become bolder, that the music becomes louder, that you're able to organize the thoughts, and you truly understand that you are limitless. Now, if there were one thing that I want to pull from this movie that you can put into practice now and it would help you to become limitless, I would say resist negativity. Resist it. Negativity will keep you stuck in the past. Negativity will keep you stuck and chained into the present. But negativity will never allow you to see your future as it can be and as it should be. And negativity will never allow you to see your life in the present as it is. Negativity will hamper your gratitude. And to truly be limitless, y'all, we got to learn how to be appreciative of what we have and to give gratitude where gratitude is due. So that's movie number one that shifted my mindset and helped to develop me into the person that I am becoming right now. Movie number two. Okay, number two. Let me think. March of 1999. Man, life might as well have changed because a bomb dropped into the cinemas that changed everything. This movie was made on, I believe it was a $63 million budget, but it's grossed almost like $460 million. And I'm sure that number has only grown. I'm talking about the original Matrix. Oh, man. Woo, I still remember seeing the trailers. And I was already a big Keanu Reeves fan, but just watching the trailers, I got tingles. And when I went to see it for the first time, after the movie was over, I sat there with my head resting in one of my hands, and I was just like, man, what just happened? What just happened. Now, if you have been living under a rock and have never seen this movie is about a guy, and I'm going to just give the generalized synopsis. It's about this guy who doesn't know that he is living inside of a computer simulation. He thinks it's real life. And when real life begins to bleed over into his simulation, he's able to unplug from the matrix and become who he is as he sees what the stakes are and what life truly is. Now, there are message boards, websites, dissertations, theses, all of these things that are dedicated to breaking down the various themes from this movie. But I want to tell you what was so impactful about this movie to me. This whole idea that what you see may not always be what exactly is has stuck with me, not just as it relates to life, but more specifically to business and personal relationships and, a lot of things because, and we've talked about this over the course of the podcast. Sometimes we think that a job is supposed to be ours. What we think is reality, and sometimes it don't happen that way. Sometimes we think that somebody doesn't like us, but that's not exactly the way that life is. This whole idea of unplugging from your comfort, unplugging from what feels familiar, unplugging from what you've always thought, and opening yourself to the possibility that what you think there is not all that there is. I'm not going to get all meta on y'all on the podcast, okay? But here's what I want to say about how this movie impacted me. It has shown me over the course of my life that it is okay to not be a part of the rat race. Like my parents retired as teachers. If I'm honest, y'all, my aim is not to retire as a teacher. My aim is not to live life the way that I've seen it lived before. And a couple of years ago, it really hit home. I was watching The Matrix for like the 20th time. And it really hit me, the part of the movie where Morpheus is holding the red pill and the blue pill before Neo. One of the pills will take him back to his normal life, but once he takes the other pill, life will never be the same. And I've asked myself that question over and over again. Which pill would I have chosen? Before my mindset changed, I would have chosen the pill to go back to life as usual. But now I'm in a stage of life where I don't want life to be by a script. I'm ready to risk it. I'm ready to risk it. And I remember I launched a t-shirt line called Lion Slayers Wanted last summer. I no longer have that t-shirt line because it didn't work. However, what makes me so excited that I did it is it's because it was the least Coach J thing that I've ever done in my life. Nobody would have ever told you that they could have seen me having an apparel line. Yet here I was on my computer and Canva, and Shopify had a little store, and I'm creating designs and all this stuff because I don't want a life by the script. And The Matrix, as many times as I've seen it, I would rather live a life wide open, with eyes wide open, to experience fully and freely the ups and the downs. I would rather live a life where I'm exposed to the risk, where my heart gets broken sometimes, where, the things I really want don't always come through, where I have to suffer some hurt and lick my wounds and then get up and find a way to move forward, than to live life in the safety of the box of what I know. Y'all, that's a mindset shift. To choose to embrace faith over fear. To choose to be able to say that what's really out there, I think can be had. And even if I can't understand it, that's not going to stop me from trying. I know I have all of this potential, and I'm not just going to spend it in the usual places, working in a job for 20, 30 years with the 401k. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to see what's really out there. And for me, that's what the Matrix represents. The Matrix represents the box. I challenge you to bust that sucker open and see what life truly has for you. It's time to disrupt business as usual. It's time to disrupt what is normal. It's time to disrupt what's always been, because what's always been may not be serving what needs to happen in your life. And I want to encourage you right now just to take stock. How have you been living your life in a box? And how much more could your life be enhanced if you were just to toss the box aside, to unplug from the matrix and to begin to form life on your terms? Yeah, it may be scary. Yeah, you may have a failed business. Yeah, you may have to use your retirement to fund a new business venture or something. You may choose to backpack around Europe. I don't know. But I'm urging you to unplug. I'm urging you to take the risk and to jump out of normal into the unknown and to truly see what life and living are all about. That's my takeaway from the Matrix. Now, it's not as smart and as brilliant a takeaway as people that you'll read online. However, this is my podcast. This is our one-on-one coaching session. So I want to give you some things that can push you forward. So again, take the leap, break out of the box, unplug from what's normal and expected, and then see where life takes you. And number 3, like I said, this is a new one, and it's Creed 3. And I'm going to be honest and tell y'all that I did not even watch this movie until about 2 weeks ago. But the impact of it, y'all, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I've always been a fan of the Rocky universe. And I love the spin that adding, the story of Adonis Creed, what that's done to the story. It's the ultimate underdog story, right? But adding the Creed side to it just gave it a completely new dimension. And even with Creed 3 is different from the Creed trilogy. Not only is it the only one that Rocky has not been in, but Michael B. Jordan also took a greater role in the shaping of the movie. And so the storytelling and the cinematography, they're masterful. Oh my gosh, they're masterful. And there's so much to take away from this movie. Just a brief synopsis, just in case you haven't seen it. Adonis, Donnie, he's on top of the world, boxer supreme, right? But we also get some backstory on him about a friend that he had named Damien and some trouble that they got into leading to Damien going to prison. And so Damien comes back into Adonis's life, and it ends up in the end of the movie, they are fighting one another. For Donnie to, I think, winning the championship is secondary, but making a break from his past, that's the main thing. That's what he's fighting for. And I remember there is a part in the fight, during the fight, Duke, his trainer, Damien is giving Donnie the work, just blasting him. And again, you have to watch this movie, even if it's just for the cinematography during the fight, because it's box office. But Duke leans in And he tells Adonis, he says, listen, you're out there boxing, but I need you to fight. Y'all, that part, it gave me chills. Because as I'm watching this movie, I am seeing a lot of myself in that this whole idea of letting go from your past, not allowing your past to be a chain around your legs or a chain around your heart, letting go of who you think that you are or who you thought that you are or who even you used to be. And understanding that the past is never just going to let you go. And sometimes you can't just put on boxing gloves and have a gentleman's friendly fight discussion with it. You can't box it, you've got to fight it. So to get away from your past, sometimes you've got to be willing to fight and scrap and claw, because who you are now, what you're building now and what you're building toward is worth it. Like this whole idea that Adonis is plagued by decisions he made from his past that have led to him fighting someone who used to be one of his best friends, someone who had even more boxing ability than he had. There's so much symbolism there. But through it all, Adonis is fighting to overcome himself. He's fighting to overcome that scared little boy from way back then who watched his friend get put into jail for something that he did. He's fighting to overcome all of the doubts about his legacy and who he was. He's fighting to save, his family, to set a good example for his little girl. He's fighting for all of these things, yet the past is holding him back. Little Adonis is still so very prevalent in his life that it causes him to kind of go off the rails over the course of the movie. And y'all, I get it. Inside Coach J, there's a little J. Inside you, there's a little you. And there are decisions that we've made in the past. And by past, y'all, I could even be meaning just as recent as yesterday, that have you held in place, that have you trapped, that have you in a spot where you don't think that you can ever move forward. Well, if I can tell you anything, it's that you deserve to put your past to rest so that you can move on into your future. You deserve to put your past to rest so that you can appreciate your present for the gift that it is. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Future you deserves it. Shoot, present you deserves to put the past to rest. You cannot. From this moment forward, allow the things that have happened in your past to shackle you and to stifle you and to shrink your growth and to keep you from becoming all that you were meant to be. Y'all, you were meant to be limitless. And if you're going to really unplug from the matrix, it starts by understanding that who you were does not define who you are right now. And it sure enough does not define who you're going to be in the future, because there is so much more inside of you that is yet to come out, because you're allowing yourself to be controlled by faulty decisions, by faulty perspectives, by faulty beliefs, by faulty thinking. Y'all, and when I talk about mindset all the time, here's what I'm really saying. Mindset is what you think, and it's why you think it. Let's just make it more specific, right? Mindset is what you were thinking, and it's why you were thinking it. I am asking you to change your mindset. And I believe that these 3 movies can do an amazing thing toward helping you. Or maybe you listen and you're like, nah, man, none of these movies are for me. That's fine. Wherever you find inspiration, grab that inspiration and run with it and use it to change your life, because Your life deserves to be changed. And before I go off on another tangent, y'all, I want to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to close out this season finale of the Pep Talk podcast. This is episode 28. I'm Coach Jay, and we're talking about the movies that have shaped my mindset. I want to know what yours are. I'll be right back. We're back, episode 28 of the Pep Talk podcast, and we have been talking about 3 movies that have vastly impacted my life, and I hope that I have broken them down and given you all enough and even some teasers for you to go back and watch them yourself if you haven't watched them. But again, my taste in movies is not for everybody, so I understand that you may think of these movies and be like, ew, you really like those movies? It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. However, that's where I got my inspiration to look at what I think and why I think it, right? My mindset. I want you to find those things that shape your mindset, what you're thinking and why you're thinking it, and allow yourself to change. Now, the quote of the day, it may not be for everybody, but I'm going to put it out there anyway because I know that somebody's going to listen to this and it's going to it's going to be for you. And it's from Creed 3, and it's from a section in the movie where Donnie, Adonis Creed's wife, Bianca, is trying to get to the bottom of what's going on with him. And she says this to him. She says, you have to try to forgive yourself so that you can believe that you deserve the life that you have owned. That's tough. For somebody out there listening, you haven't forgiven yourself, so you haven't been able to move on. May I encourage you to forgive yourself? And if you need help doing that, find a therapist or find a coach, someone who can walk you through that process of what forgiving yourself is, because in order for you to move on, in order for you to let go of your past, in order for you to be limitless, in order for you to fully unplug from the matrix, from the normal, and live life the way that it's supposed to be lived, you have to forgive yourself. And you have to believe that what you have and what you will have, you've earned. You feel me? Y'all, this has been a fun season 1. Man, it's been fun. Y'all have put up with me going on some rants. But through it all, what I hope and my prayer is that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that right here with Coach Jay, you have a cheerleader and you have a coach. I'm going to tell you what's great about you, but I'm also going to tell you what can be greater. And that's the mission of what this podcast is. And that's what we're focused on moving forward. And as I'm planning again for season 2, we're going to hold to that. We're going to be bringing you that pep. We're going to be cheering you on. We're going to be coaching you up. And we're going to be bringing the value and letting you know how much we love and appreciate each and every one of you. So please believe while I'm on this little break, we're not resting on laurels. We're not just sitting back. We're not just chilling, y'all. We are still putting in the work to bring you content that is going to bring pep to your day, pep to your week, pep to your life. And as we do it, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to keep it love, we're going to keep it light, and we're going to keep it peppy. We'll see you for season 2. Y'all be easy. Y'all be blessed. This is the Pep Talk podcast with your host, Coach Jay, signing out for season 1. Love y'all. Peace.